Hi guys, welcome back to the weird side of YouTube. I'm your host, author DC Knipe, and this is the Writing Rainbow, or I might start calling it Writer's Block. I haven't decided yet. I'm pretty sure a lot of YouTube channels and or shows are called Writer's Block when it has to do with writing. But yeah, this is the show where I talk about writing, and I have actually been writing quite a lot. And so today I decided I would do a writer's tag questions. I found these on the Bibliophile girl, and she apparently found them on ink blots and icebergs. And now someone's going to find them on my channel, and I think that's really fucking cool. So, let's get started. No, I don't say that anymore, DC, stop. I say let's get weird. We have 20 questions here. Let's just dive right in. Number one, what type of writing do you do? Mostly I do young adult fantasy, dark fantasy, and horror. Now, in the sense of what I mean with young adult horror, it's not like it isn't meant for young adults, it's meant for adults in general. It is horror. When I say young adult, what I've written in the horror genre is the main characters are always young adults, either late teenagers or early 20s. So every main character I've ever written, for better or worse, so far has been a late teenager or early 20s. I want to start writing about people in their 30s. But what I've written so far is literally young adult fantasy and horror. Well, and I also do a lot of poetry. So I write novels, novellas, short stories, and poetry. I actually have a poetry album, spoken word poetry album, coming out. I think by the time you watch this, it'll already be out. Link in description. It's called The Writer's Block. And like I said, number two, what genres or topics do you write about? I already answered this in the first one. Horror and fantasy, basically. Dark fantasy, urban fantasy, contemporary fantasy. I just really dig fantasy, and I also love horror, and horror kind of sneaks its way into everything I write, including fantasy. I'm actually re-releasing my novel that I got published, Dream, as a special edition. I'm adding scenes to it that are a lot darker, and making certain scenes a lot darker. So I like to traumatize my characters. It's fun. Number three, how long have you been writing? Since I was like 4. Literally since I was like 4. I am now 35 now, so over 30 years. I turned 35 in April, so April 28th, it'll be 31 years that I've been writing. As far as I've been like writing and sharing my work with people since I was about 19 or 20. Writing as a career, 19 or 20. Number 4, are you published? I was. I've had a couple poems published in like high school newspapers, which some people count that, I don't. Also, that those poems were garbage, so you will never see those on my channel. Apologies, but you will never see those. A lot of poetry that I wrote as a teenager is hot garbage. I don't like it. But am I published? As I said, my novel Dream was traditionally published. Well, maybe not traditionally. We'll get into it. I'm gonna write a whole video about my publishing journey and my writing journey. I need to write the script, but there's a lot of stuff went into that I'm not a fan of. Basically, they didn't pick up Dream. Well, they published it. It didn't sell well. They took it off the shelves. So after they promised they would market it, and all they did was like do a radio spot on a sports station, which has, okay, first of all, there's no sports even in the book. And it's a queer coming-of-age story about healing from childhood trauma. No one that listens to a sports station is going to give a shit about that. Anyway, I'm going to save it for the video. Basically, I was published. They took the books down because it didn't sell well. I'm republishing it now myself, self-publishing. Sorry, that was a rant. 5, what was the first story you ever wrote? I think it was a Zelda fan fiction about the origin of Fierce Deity Link from Majora's Mask. It was basically a warped version of Ocarina of Time about a young Link deity version, like going around Termina, helping people, and becoming a god, basically. The way that Link in Ocarina of Time became like the hero of time. No, I do not have that anymore. I wish I did. It was fucking cool. Number 7, how do you find time to write? I have a lot of time to write now that I'm jobless. I lost my job. Spoiler alert. Video about that coming. I didn't get fired or anything. It was seasonal, but whatever. When I did have my job, or when I'm working full time, I just kind of force myself to write. Poetry comes out of me all the time. I'm always writing something. Usually it's poetry. A lot of poems that I write don't get released. Sometimes I just need to vent what I'm doing in like an artistic way, whether that's painting or drawing or writing. And a lot of that doesn't get released because it's not meant to be released. It's just meant for me. But as to write novels and stuff, I haven't written anything new in a very long time, but I am in the process of rewriting, kind of, not really rewriting, Dream. I'm editing it and making it the way I want it, and we will get into all of that, and I'm even changing the title because I did not like the title that the publisher suggested, but we'll get into all that with my publishing journey video later on. Number 8, when and where are the best times to write? When and where are the best times to write? I really like writing in the morning when I get up. I used to get up in like twilight, like at 6 a.m. And I would really love to write with like a hot cup of tea on the porch. I can't do that now because my neighbors are crazy. Now I write mostly in the evenings and have a hot cup of tea while I'm writing and just get in the zone. So anytime like that's like a relaxing time after you get everything done for the day and like you just want to relax, either write scribbles in my notebook for notes of what I'm gonna write, or type it out on my laptop, and it's good to go. Number 9, favorite food or drinks while writing. I like hot tea. Like I said, hot tea while I'm writing. And as snackages, me and my partner call them adult Lunchables, but they're basically just, what are they called? I call them adult Lunchables, so I don't know like the adult version of them. A charcuterie board, I think. I don't even know how to fucking pronounce that. Charcuterie board. Just like crackers and bits of ham and turkey and cheese. And sometimes broccoli. I really like cold fresh broccoli with ranch. It's really good. Sometimes carrots as well. Number 10, your writing playlist. Depends on what I'm writing. I have 1,000 playlists saved on my phone. I also have a CD collection and a boombox that I play them on. I love music, and I probably couldn't write without music. Now that I'm writing Dream again, I have like Florence and the Machine and a lot of 90s alt rock songs and Japanese anime songs, because it's a very weird book with a lot of vastly differing characters, and in order to get into those headspaces to write about those characters, I have a playlist for each and every one of them. So it's a very weird, like, imagine like a puzzle. Every piece is its own thing, and it looks like when you're in the middle of it, it won't make sense at all, but like when it's finished, it's beautiful. That's how I feel about Dream. But before we get into the next question, we are going to have a word from our sponsor, me.
We interrupt this program to bring you an infomercial for. Now that's what I call poetry, a spoken word album from DC, featuring your favorite hits like Writer's Block, Night Hunt, and Zenith Star, with instrumentals all made by the man himself. His debut spoken word poetry album truly is something special. Don't wait, order now. Link in description.
Okay, what's next? 11. What do family/friends/loved ones think of your writing? My friends love it. My partner is very proud of me. I recently got a $70 check from Residuals for royalties for my writing, and I'm really excited about it. He was super proud to see that. I was very pleased with it as well. But my family, they're proud of me. They enjoy the fact that, well, they love the fact that I enjoy writing. But they haven't really, I don't think, read anything I've written since I was a teenager, and I was very religious, and I had God as an actual character in my, like, fantasy books that I wrote. So I don't think that my mom has read anything since then, and my dad passed away when I was 22, so obviously he hasn't read anything since then. But actually some of my best writing came out when he passed away, because I don't know if anyone understands this, but when someone that you love that's been there all your life suddenly dies, you're in a fog, and you don't know what you're doing or what's going on or whether you're dreaming or not for a while. And I wrote a lot of poetry during that time that was really fucking good, and I want to find it and re-release it if I can, because it was really good. And I would find these randomly, like a couple years later, like, I wrote this? That's dark as fuck. It was dark as fuck, but it's like dark as in like artistic and like guttural, not as in like eyeliner and I'm emo in high school, if that makes sense. The next, number 12, parts of writing you enjoy the most. I really like the escapism of it. That's why I started writing Dream in the first place. I was dealing with a lot of abuse at home growing up when I came out of the closet, religious parental abuse. I loved my mom. I loved my dad. They thought they were doing the right thing. Long story short, they thought they were protecting me, but it ended up hurting me more. I don't blame them for that. If I believed what they believe, I would have done the same thing with my kid. It was a religious, spiritual thing. It's just what they were taught and what they were going by. It's what they believed, and I don't blame them for that, and I don't hold like any resentment towards them. I love my parents. I love my dad dearly. I love my mom dearly. But it happened, and I have scars from it, and I'm sure they have scars from it because I was mean to them back. But yeah, the escapism. I finished Dream. I started Dream when I was experiencing parental abuse, and I finished Dream about 10 years later experiencing romantic abuse from my partner. So Dream is all about healing from trauma and being hurt. So escapism is the number one thing that I enjoy about writing. It lets me be Alice and go into a wonderland for a little bit without like killing my brain on drugs. My dad used to say this really cute thing when I was a teenager, because I was never one that was like hanging out with my friends. My friends smoked weed, but I didn't smoke it. I didn't like the idea of like not being in control of myself. Even getting drunk as when I was older, I did not really particularly enjoy. I'm kind of a control freak when it comes to my body. I think everyone should be, to be honest. But he used to say this thing where like drugs are for people with no imagination. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Obviously, like medication and like weed actually helps people with a lot of different health things, and I hear mushrooms are actually really good for mental health as well. It's microdosing, I think is what it's called, but I've never tried it. I'm interested in smoking weed for the benefits of mental health as well as hallucinogenic mushrooms, but I'm terrified, A, of a bad trip, and B, I'm terrified of cops. So yeah, we're probably not going to do that. But yeah, escapism is the best part of writing. Being creative is really fun too. Getting to know characters. And one of the things in high school that why I started writing in the first place was like I created friends. Like I had friends, like I still have friends, but I created friends that were around me all the time that I could like depend on always, no matter what. I didn't have to call them, I didn't have to do nothing, I just had to write. And that was fun for me, and I really liked that. I love my characters. Every one of my characters I adore, even the ones that I kill off. Unfortunately, sometimes people just have to die for the sake of the plot. It just happens. What's next? 13 parts of writing you find challenging. Editing. I despise editing. Actually, I'm really enjoying doing it with Dream now because there's so many parts that I did not like, things that the editors changed that I did not want changed, things that the editors added that I did not want added, things that the editors took away that I did not want taken away. I'm just adding a lot more stuff to it. They were making it marketable or whatever, but like, I think it's cooler my way, and I want it to be that way since they gave up on it. They made me do what they wanted to do, and then they just gave up on it. So fuck them, I'm doing it my way. But yeah, editing is the most difficult part. I know someone that said write drunk, edit sober. I kind of like that, but also I'm horny when I'm drunk and I really don't want to write erotica. But yeah, editing is probably the worst. Researching, getting in the zone and writing about something and then realizing you have no idea what you're talking about on the subject and being like making a mental note in your Word document like I need to research this before I write about it more, and then moving on to another chapter, writing on that, and then forgetting that, and then go finally finishing your first draft, and then you're like, oh wait, I completely skipped these like 3 chapters because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about in it. So researching it, it's only because like you're in the zone and you really don't want to stop writing. I get like that sometimes, but I do like researching. I actually really enjoy researching. But because I'm a nerd, but like when you're in the zone writing, you just don't want to stop because it's hard to get to that zone, if that makes any sense. If you're an artist, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Next, 14, what do you write with and on? With and on. I think I write on my laptop. I always write on my laptop, although I did make a prologue on my desktop last night at like 4 in the morning, which was fun. But it wasn't even for a dream, it was for a future project. But I write on my laptop mostly, and what I write with, I have to use OpenOffice because as much as I do love Word, and I used Word to get Dream published traditionally or whatever, as much as I love Word, the self-publishing company that I go through now, Lulu, needs to use OpenOffice documents, so I'm using that. I also am a lot more learned. I have a lot more experience on OpenOffice than I do Word currently. I used to use Word all the time back when I was a kid, but like OpenOffice with Lulu, that's just what I switched over to, and I haven't used Word in a while. Next, 15, how do you overcome writer's block? Oh fuck, this baby. This is my writer's block. This is my writer's block, isn't it cute? I have a whole poem album, a spoken word poem album called Writer's Block, which is all about writer's block. But this is what I use. I fiddle with it. It also helps me with, it's kind of a Rubik's Cube, but it's Japanese. It's really cute and pastel colored. But I call it my writer's block, and it helps me with my anxiety. And recently, I don't know if anyone watching this knows this, I talked about it a couple years ago on my channel, but I had a mental breakdown a couple of years ago, I think 3 years ago now, and my anxiety's been like spiked ever since, and this helps me when I'm in public or when I'm talking, and like when I'm trying to get in the mood, in like a steady, even mindset to write in, this helps me a lot. But other than that, now, this is what I do now. But in the past, and I still do this, but that mainly, if I have writer's block and I just can't write, that usually I take that as I'm not inspired. So I need to take stuff in order to put stuff out. Which means watch anime, watch cartoons, watch movies, play video games, read as much as you possibly fucking can. I just got a bunch of really cool fucking books. As everyone knows that I love Tolkien and Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I got this. The Encyclopedia of Tolkien. Listen to that leather, it's so good. I love Tolkien. But read as much as you can, watch TV, anything that's artistic, look at paintings, go to a museum, study history, I don't know, something. Everything around you can be a source of inspiration. Listen to music. Fuck yes, music. Anything artistic. And like history doesn't seem artistic, but like if it can be inspiring. There's a lot of inspiring stories from history. But yeah, if you have writer's block, it's probably because you aren't inspired. Other than that, drop it. Just drop everything and chill for a bit, veg out, do whatever you want, but just like watching TV or whatever, but like, don't force yourself. Like part of my poem, the main poem from my spoken word album, hammering this writer's block, like hammering it, because the whole idea of the poem is that it's an actual block. hammering it. That's what I mean by like forcing something out. When you force shit out, no matter what kind of art it is, it's not gonna be good. I get into these moods where I feel like I need to force stuff out, and then I go back to it and I'm like, this is awful, and I don't release it. Those are usually the ones that are like personal to me, where I'm like trying to get something out of my system. Art is good for that. Not all art needs to be shared. A lot of art, especially humans, well, only with humans, because art isn't art, but a lot of times humans just need to express themselves in different ways, and not all of that needs to be shared. A lot of that is personal, and I think everyone should respect that. Like, as an example, Amy Lee from Evanescence wrote a few songs that she never wanted released that were personal to her about abuse and exes, and people leaked them. Sometimes you just need to leave shit alone, man. That wasn't your song to leak. That was her song. She made that to heal, and you stole it. And I just find that kind of messed up. Number 16. How do you motivate yourself to write? I don't really have to motivate myself. Like I said, I hammer my writer's block, twist it and turn it until it unlocks. But, and then I get inspired, and I don't really have to motivate myself. Sometimes I don't really feel like doing some things, like YouTube stuff or drawing or any kind of artistic endeavor, and so I don't. You shouldn't really force yourself to do anything. Like I said, if you force yourself to be any kind of creative, it's not gonna be good. That's the whole artwork thing to me, is like, yes, it's artwork. It takes work to make art, but it shouldn't feel like work. It should be cathartic for you a lot of the time. Editing, however, that should have been the question. How do you motivate yourself to edit? How do I motivate myself to edit? I tell myself that I will never be able to release this piece of art unless it is edited. And that usually lights a fire up my ass, and I do it. Editing is balls. No one likes editing. Self-editing is god-awful. Okay, what's next? 17 authors who inspire you as a writer. Like I said, Tolkien, Edgar Allan Poe, the Brothers Grimm, Hans Christian Andersen, basically everyone that ever wrote a fairy tale ever. I don't remember. Stephen King, obviously, everyone loves Stephen King. Mary Shelley, the woman that wrote Frankenstein, she wrote a lot of other books as well. I don't remember his name, but the guy that wrote the original Ring, I think, no, I don't even remember his name. But, yeah, there's a lot of artists or authors that I read, and I don't really pay really much attention to authors in general, like popular ones currently, because every time I try to read a book, like one that's blowing up on TikTok or something, I dislike it. I used to think maybe it was because, oh, I don't like the popular thing, my subconscious is just trying to be cool or whatever, but like, no, a lot of it's just bad, in my opinion. Anyway, before I get canceled, books that inspire me as a writer: fairy tales, Tolkien books. I really like all of Edgar Allan Poe's stories and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and I was supposed to read the complete works of Peter Pan this year, and I just dropped the ball on that. Stephen King, basically everyone I mentioned earlier. Number 19, best advice you've gotten as a writer. Just keep writing and keep reading. Keep reading is the most important part. Keep reading. As much as I dislike current books, I do want to keep reading because I want to see what's popular. And you need to keep in mindset of like what the industry is doing as of now, what's popular, what's the trend. You also just need to keep like your style of writing up to date, because it's really easy just to get in a loop and just copy yourself over and over and over again, and you need to like get fresh perspectives, different kinds of artistic works in front of you to see like, okay, I could do it this way, or I could do it that way, or I could do it this way, I can use this word instead of this word, and this word instead of this word. It's fun, and you're also learning more as you go. And the more you read, the more skills you're going to earn as a writer, if that makes any sense. Reading is basically writing practice. And number 20, what are your writing goals for this year? I want to edit and re-release Dream, which is now going to be called Dream, a Modern Queer Fairy Tale, instead of Dream, a Surreal and Psychedelic Gay Romance Fantasy Novel. I hate that title. But, you know, it's whatever. I also want to release Exorcist Acolyte as a physical copy for purchase. I have it for free to download on my website right now as an ebook, but that's not going to last for long. So if you really want to read it, go grab it like right now, because it's not going to be there for long. I also have a sequel to it that I want to publish alongside of it as an ebook and physical copy to purchase. And a prequel to Dream. I've finished. I just need to edit it. It's a lot shorter than Dream, actually. It'd be like a novella. But a prequel to Dream that I want to release by the end of this year as well. I don't know if I'm going to release all like 4 of those, but I want to at least do Dream and Exorcist Acolyte by the end of this year. And I'm also, like I said, releasing a spoken word poetry album. It releases on April 1st. By the time you see this, it'll probably be like in the middle of April. So like the link will be in the description. Please purchase it. It's only $5. Like I said, it's called the Writer's Block. Not the Writer's Block, but just Writer's Block. And it's all about... Actually, it's not all about having writer's block. The first and last poems are about writer's block. It's like encapsulated, sandwiched in. The rest of them, hence the name writer's block, is recycled poems from when I was younger. Really good, like 10 of them are, of my poems from when I was younger was actually good. So I used them all, and they're supposed to sound like artificial and kind of weird and just unnerving in a way, kind of like an audio... Uncanny Valley. So I used my voice is on it in certain places, but the actual poems are being read by like robots with different voices, and I like that. But that's going to be the only spoken word album I do ever that's got that. I've already got poems on this channel with my actual voice, and I'm going to release an album with my actual voice on it completely. Well, I don't want to say soon, but eventually. So yeah. Look forward to Dream, and please buy my spoken word poetry album. It's only $5 for 13 tracks, and it's weird and cool, and I love it, and I don't think I've ever heard or read anything like it before. That's why I write. I write what I don't see or read, and I love it. I love everything I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't fucking release it. But I wouldn't write it in the first place. But with that being said, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.